Something just cracked behind the polished facade of a Labour's leadership, and it has the potential to spiral into a serious credibility crisis. Chancellor Rachel Reeves, the woman Keir Starmer has paraded as the economic brains behind Labour's so-called plan for change, is now under official investigation by Parliament's standards watchdog. Let's break it down, but first hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. On Wednesday afternoon, buried in a quiet update to the official parliamentary website, it was revealed that the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards has opened an investigation into Reeves over what's known as a registration of interest. The investigation was officially launched on April 29th, but only now has it become public knowledge. And while we don't yet have the full details because the Commissioner's office, as is standard practice, withholds specific allegations at this stage, what we do know is enough to raise some very serious eyebrows. Members of Parliament are required by law and by ethical expectation to declare any financial interest or benefit they receive that could reasonably be seen as influencing their actions, votes, or public statements. That includes everything from donations and gifts to paid speeches, corporate hospitality, advisory roles, and personal financial stakes in businesses or policies they oversee. So the fact that Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer no less, is now facing scrutiny over this specific rule is a big deal. Because let's be absolutely clear, this isn't some backbencher forgetting to log a free lunch at a think tank event. This is the sitting Chancellor, the second most powerful person in the British government, being accused implicitly of failing to be transparent about a possible financial interest. And that cuts right to the core of public trust. Now, Labour and their loyal media circles might try to spin this as a minor administrative oversight. That's the usual playbook. But let's not pretend this doesn't matter. The public deserves to know if the person crafting the nation's tax and spending policies has undisclosed financial links or has failed to properly report benefits that could influence her decisions. Because the timing is also extremely telling. Reeves is currently pushing hard on Labour's economic credibility narrative, pitching herself as the responsible alternative to Conservative chaos, all while preparing the groundwork for major spending shifts and potential tax reforms. If it turns out she has hidden financial interests while shaping these policies, that's not just a lapse in judgment, it's a betrayal of the public mandate. And where's Keir Starmer in all this? Silent. Once again, the Labour leader, so quick to lecture others on standards and integrity, has nothing to say when scandal hits his own cabinet. This isn't the first time either. We've seen the same silence around Angela Rayner's housing tax investigation, the same deflections when Labour donors and internal corruption questions arise. This government promised clean politics. Instead, it's giving us opacity, spin, and now formal investigations into its top brass. We've heard Labour talk endlessly about restoring trust in politics, but how can the public trust them when even their Chancellor can't get her interest properly declared? Make no mistake, this story is only just beginning. If the Commissioner finds that Reeves breached the rules, and especially if the breach was deliberate or sustained, there could be calls for resignation, not just embarrassment. Because financial transparency isn't a side issue. It's the foundation of democracy. When you control the purse strings of the nation, your own pockets better be spotless. And right now, Rachel Reeves is under the microscope, and the public deserves answers. In other news, the US and Ukraine have agreed a crucial minerals deal after months of negotiations in a major breakthrough for peace. The deal is set to grant the US special access to new investment projects to develop Ukraine's natural resources, including aluminum, graphite, oil, and natural gas. Initial efforts to sign a deal had crumbled in February after Zelensky's confrontation with JD Vance and Trump in the Oval Office. But the two countries' presidents, Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky, met at the Vatican ahead of Pope Francis's funeral just days ago. And now the deal, which Trump has been pushing hard for, has been signed. A US Treasury statement released late on Wednesday UK time reads, "On April 30th, the United States and Ukraine signed signed an agreement to establish the United States Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. In recognition of the significant financial and material support that the people of the United States have provided to the defense of Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion, this economic partnership positions our two countries to work collaboratively and invest together to ensure that our mutual assets, talents, and capabilities can accelerate Ukraine's economic recovery. Under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump, the Treasury Department and the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, DFC, will work together with the government of Ukraine to finalize program governance and advance this important partnership. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, "Thanks to President Trump's tireless efforts to secure a lasting peace, I am glad to announce the signing of today's historic economic partnership agreement between the United States and Ukraine, establishing the United States Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund." As the president has said, the United States is committed to helping facilitate the end of this cruel and senseless war. This agreement signals clearly to Russia that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. President Trump envisioned this partnership between the American people and the Ukrainian people to show both sides' commitment to lasting peace and prosperity in Ukraine. And to be clear, no state or person who financed or supplied the Russian war machine will be allowed to benefit from the reconstruction of Ukraine. Bessent's glowing statement came after he revealed the deal had almost been held up at the last minute. "Our side is ready to sign. The Ukrainians decided last night to make some last-minute changes," he told reporters around 3 hours before its signing, with Ukraine's first Deputy Prime Minister, Yulia Svyrydenko, on the plane to Washington to round off negotiations. "We're sure that they will reconsider that, and we are ready if they are," he added. Svyrydenko later wrote on social media, "Together with the United States, we are creating the fund that will attract global investment into our country." Following the deal, Alan Mendoza, executive director of security think tank the Henry Jackson Society, told GB News, "At a stroke, Volodymyr Zelensky has now achieved what most of Europe has wanted: a US stake in the future of Ukraine. This is a start, not a finish, to the idea of reconciling our transatlantic differences on this conflict." It also raises question marks about why the UK has not been as innovative in thinking about post-conflict Ukraine as Donald Trump. "The UK has been one of Ukraine's strongest supporters. We must make sure we do not miss out on helping Ukraine in its post-war recovery." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.